Welcome to Real Estate Grad School. We coach experienced real estate agents to create and build the habits and systems that rapidly increase your income, build your team, and allow you a much greater peace of mind. I'm Rich Levin. I've been coaching experienced real estate agents for over 20 years to exceptional success. Come and learn. So the question's been asked many times. Why do people continue to want to buy homes, to buy real estate? In most markets across the United States and probably Canada, there continues to be a strong demand for houses. There's always a good demand for houses. People want to own their own home. I think it's in human nature. I think we're born and built that way. Food, shelter, and clothing, I think that's just natural stuff. So there continues to be a strong demand, particularly in the medium, low and high to medium price ranges. So I say low medium price ranges, affordable medium price ranges, and high medium price ranges. I'm hearing more and more that high price ranges are somewhat softer. And I don't give you numbers on those because, where Shandy lives, high price range is $2 million. Where Elaine lives, high price range is $350,000, well, maybe $500,000 nowadays. So, but those medium and low to medium and high to medium price ranges are hot. Despite the fact that mortgages are 7%, down actually to 7.03 as of today on mortgagenewsdaily.com. Despite the high mortgages and the high prices and the frustration of multiple offers and low inventory, so there's not as much to choose from, why do people continue to buy? Well, I stumbled upon a rather obvious reason on a tweet. The tweet came from the National Association of Realtors, and it had this graph on it. And this graph shows one of the obvious reasons why the demand for houses is so high. One of the obvious reasons, and the graph on this tweet, is the rent of a primary residence. Now, primary residence, I'm assuming means an apartment or a house, but it means it's the place where people live, not a vacation home. And it says start of deceleration, because the start of deceleration, if you follow my mouse in the upper right, I think it's just describing this little bit of downturn here in 2023, okay? But if you look at these downturns, there were serious downturns, okay? One of them happened here in 2009 and 10 when the market crashed. Another one happened here in 2020 during COVID, which basically says that there's a pretty steady, that the rents stay pretty steady. Now this is growth. This isn't what the rents are. This is a percentage of growth. So the percentage of growth on rents seems to hover between 2.5 and 4.25. Often right under 4 for a long time. But suddenly, in 2021, for the last 2 years, all of 2021, 2022, now into 2023, maybe over 2 years, rents shot up from averaging around 4% to over 8%. So that seems to be a rather obvious reason why, despite interest rates being higher and prices being higher, that buyers want to buy. Because if they're renting, they've seen their rents just shoot up significantly. You may have talked to people, I've talked to people whose rents have gone up $90 to $100, a lot for somebody in an apartment paying somebody else for their space. Here in Israel, it's been the same. So that's one obvious reason. Rents are going up, so it makes really good sense to buy instead of giving your money to a landlord. Here's another reason. Prices. Prices have gone up enormously since 2017. I mean, they were going up pretty steadily here since 2012. actually going up pretty steadily since 1991. They dropped during that period of 2007, it's 2000, what is it, about 2007 to about 2011, when the market did crash because of a bunch of foolish legislation that the federal government passed. And it's been rising now ever since, and has dramatically risen, tremendously risen in the past, 6 or 7 years. With a little evening out this past winter, and now it's up again. So with house prices getting higher, rents getting higher, interest rates getting higher, it still makes more sense to have the tax deductions, to have all the benefits of owning. Now, we're going to talk about a number of the benefits of owning tomorrow, but today I want to focus on something we call talking points. Because what your job is to be able to talk about things like interest rates and the benefits of buying, and whether it's a good time to buy or sell, and what's going on in the market. Your job, one part of your job, is to be able to talk about this. We call it learning talking points. You hear about talking points on the news. Like if you watch the news, particularly like television news, you'll notice that they start saying the same thing over and over and over. Oh, this is the worst recession, worst recession, worst recession. This is as bad as this, it's bad. It's the same language, because they're literally given. I talked to somebody who works at CNN in the news department. Actually, his daughter, I talked to the daughter because the father lived on my street on Lachona Court in Atlanta. It might have been MSNBC. And she said every morning they get these talking points from they don't know where. But all the news broadcasts get these talking points, and you can hear it on the news. People are saying the same thing. And then people who hear it all over the country start to repeat it. Blogs and social media starts to repeat it. And pretty soon those talking points become reality. So you can do the same thing. You can create talking points and make them honest, make them helpful, and create the conversation around you and around real estate in your community. Here's why this is so valuable to you. When people know or reminded that you are a real estate agent, there are some questions that they will often ask. And if you answer those casually without being prepared for them, you lose business. So if somebody says to you, is it a good time to buy a house? And you say, I guess so, some things for it, some things against it. In other words, you're just being casual. A person who's thinking about buying or selling, not only does that possibly turn them off, but they certainly don't want to have that conversation with you. You don't know anything. You're showing a lack of commitment, a lack of knowledge, a lack of understanding, just by not having a strong or at least a solid opinion. So instead, you might say this: when you're at an open house or a picnic or a party, in a grocery store, on a walk, or anywhere, and someone asks you, is it a good time to buy? Now remember, or know this, no one asks that question, is it a good time to buy, unless there's something real estate on their mind. They're buying, they're thinking of buying, their daughter, their son, their neighbor, their friend, their coworker, they're going to get laid off. Something's happening that causes them to say, is it a good time to buy? Most of the time, there's a referral to get. Now that referral, that business may not happen for a year or two, but the referral to you might ensure that whenever it happens, it's going to come to you. So when you get one of these questions, and when I say one of these questions, I mean, is it a good time to buy? How's business? How's the market? When you get one of these questions talking about how is real estate in one fashion or another, it's important to realize that that's a lead. Now, think about the word lead. It means it leads you to something. It leads you to business. So it may not lead you to business this week, but it may lead you to business 2 years from now. And if you get 100 of those, 2 years from now, you have 100 more sales, you're an excellent agent. So realize when you get this question, is it a good time to buy? How is real estate? How is business? Or any version, any fashion of that it's an opportunity, it's a lead. So you have to prepare yourself. You have to be prepared. You have to have prepared yourself for this. Then you may say, many people think it is a good time to buy because rents have gone up literally twice as fast in the past 2 years than they have for over 20 years. Really, rents have just gone skyrocketing. So a lot of people realize it makes more sense to buy even at higher price. And you have this data to back it up. You can take a snapshot of this or print the screen of it. Okay? Rents have gone up literally twice as much over the last 2 years. Instead of about 4% a year, 8% a year. Up to 8% a year. Now, every phrase of this answer is important. Many people think it is a good time to buy. Many people think it is, so the people go, oh, many people think it is. I ought to know this. Because rents have gone up. Now, they probably heard that, they know that. You're now confirming it. People love to hear confirm something they know. Literally twice as fast as in the past 2 years. Now it's at a rate of almost 8% when it's been at a rate of about 4% for a long time, under 4%. People like a new piece of information that they can pass on to others, particularly on a topic that people like to talk about. Twice as fast as in the past two years than they have for over 20 years. Again, people like to have these facts at their fingertips. Or they'll refer you. You ought to talk to this agent. You ought to talk to, you ought to talk to Donna. You ought to talk to Kelly. You ought to talk to Marie. Because she knows what's going on. People make those kinds of statements. They refer you business. So a lot of people realize it makes more, and it's continuing to be what you're saying to these people. So a lot of people realize, again, there's a lot of people realize you're in good company. It makes more sense to buy, even at higher prices. So every phrase of that's important. On the same topic, you might answer, many people think it's really smart to buy now. There's a shortage of houses. You may have heard that many times a house comes for sale and 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 people make offers on it, and prices are being forced higher than ever. You've probably heard that's going on, haven't you? Particularly in the medium price ranges, where there's even more demand, and there's not a lot of construction. The local governments, state, national governments have not made it easy for builders to build, so there's a lot more demand and not a lot more houses. And the younger people who are all of a sudden making money online with being influencers and online businesses and all of the different ways that young people can make money and have fun doing it with a medium they know online, younger people are buying sooner and they know real estate's good. They hear from people like Gary Vee and other influencers who talk about Joe Rogan, and the young people they listen to, they're making sense to them. And foreigners are coming, not only the illegal immigrants, but foreigners are coming to this country in large numbers, and they're buying as soon as they can multiple houses often. So they continue for the housing, the competition for the houses continues to be very strong. So it continues to make more and more sense to buy. See, those are talking points. So I want you to learn those talking points. I want you to have them on the tip of your tongue, at your fingertips, so to speak, so that when you get these questions, you're able to convert those questions, those mild leads, into much more active leads. Many of you do that naturally. Many of you do it automatically. Many of you learn to do this from me or somewhere along the line and do it very well. Those of you who don't do this, you need to have some of these talking points on your fingertips, and we give them to you every now and then. You can always ask me and we'll do it again. Just click on the link below. I'd look forward to speaking with you.